All right, now we're going to do 7Q, find count of most frequent item in an array. This is by Fosna, and 90% of people like it. So we're going to complete the function to find the count of the most frequent item of an array. We can assume that input is an array of integers. For an empty array, we're going to return 0. So basically, we're going to go through and we're going to filter out each one of these numbers into its own array, and then we're going to see we're going to get the length of each one of those arrays, and then we're going to see which one of those is the biggest number. We could do some for loops for this, but it would be very time consuming, and the way we're going to do it is pretty time consuming also. So for the sake of all our attention spans, I'm just going to do it one way on this one. So we're going to say const most frequent item count equals collection, and then we're going to have an arrow right here. We're going to do console.log so that we can test while we go. We're going to start right here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to map through collections. So we're going to say collection.map. If you don't know about the map method, it creates a new array populated with the results of calling a provided function on every element in the calling array. So X is going to represent each one of these elements in order, and we're going to multiply each one of them by 2. So the array 1, 4, 9, and 16 will turn into a different array of 2, 8, 18, and 32. For the syntax we're going to be using this arrow function syntax, where we're going to say collection.map. We're going to have element as the argument, an arrow right here, and then the expression that we're going to do for each one of these. All right, so we're going to say .map element, and then the arrow, and for the expression, we're going to use another method to filter out each one of these. So on each one, we're going to filter out by using this filter method. And the filter method creates a shallow copy of a portion of a given array, if you didn't know, filtered down to just the elements of the given array that pass the test implemented by the provided function. So the syntax we're using on this one is going to be the element 2 of that map we're going to do the collection dot filter, and then we're going to have for this one's function, we're going to have element 2, an arrow, and then the filtering expression. So we're going to say collection dot filter, all right, because we're going to filter through the original array, and we're going to say element 2, because we already have one element in this action already. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to say if element 2 equals element, all right? And this is going to make an array with each one of these. I'll show you. Let's test it out because we got this console.log. So you see 3, there's only one 3 in this first one. There's a -1, and it's got 2, and then there's another -1. So it makes, for each one of these elements, it makes a thing, right? So now let's get the length, it makes an array. So now let's get the length of each one of these arrays by saying .length right here. Test it out. All right, now we've got 1, 2, and 2. So now we've got the length. Now we just need to do a max, find the max of each one of these using the math.max function, which returns the largest of the given numbers, of the numbers given as input parameters, or negative infinity if there are no parameters. And so the syntax on this is going to be math.max, and then we're going to have comma separated values in here. So let's come over here. All right, right now this is looking a little bit a little bit too long, so we're going to bring this stuff down. There's 1, and then we're going to bring this one down right there, and bring this one down. We'll do that in a second. All right, and so we've got, we'll bring these down right now. All right. So now we've got this. We want to do the math.max through all this. So let's wrap this up in parentheses. All right. Is that cool? Yes. All right. Is that cool? What? Oh yeah, math.max. Math.max. I'm trying this out right now. So I'm trying to get this looking slick. You know what I mean? Because I mean, this is a video. We gotta have some sort of element of professionalism. No pun intended. All right. Hopefully that looks good. I think that looks pretty slick. All right, so now we've got this math.max, and it's this one right here. So we've got all this. Now let's test that out. Man. Oh, yeah. Math.max doesn't accept arrays. Math.max accepts comma-separated values. So how do we turn this array into a comma-separated value? Wouldn't that take forever to do unless we had this spread syntax, which allows an iterable such as an array or string to be expanded in places where 0 or more arguments or elements are expected. So in front of this in front of this collection, we just say ... just like that, and then we test it out. All right, too. That's what we're looking for. All right, let's get rid of this console.log one right here. Test it out. Looks good. Attempt it. Wow. What's this? Empty array. It's not supposed to be negative infinity, even though math.max will throw a negative infinity if there are no parameters. What do we got to do here? All right, we're going to have to do an if statement. Instead of an if statement, we're going to do a conditional operator. Or a ternary operator, which is the only JavaScript operator that takes 3 operands: a condition followed by a question mark, then an expression to execute if the condition is truthy, followed by a colon, and finally the expression to execute if the condition is falsy. This operator is frequently used as an alternative to an if-else statement. All right, so we're going to do this right here. In front of this math.max, we're going to say, what should we say here? Let's say, no, not that. Let's say if collection.length exists, we're going to do this. But let's bring this math.max down and change all this so that it looks more slick. Because remember, trying to get that professional thing going. All right. And so now we've got this, and down here, we can just say or 0. All right. So if this exists, do this. If not, do a 0. Let's test it out. All right. And attempt it. Okay, good. And submit it. All right. And you can see this one does an if statement for the 0, and then it does a for each method, which we could go through. There's an MDM for each. You can look up exactly what it does. And then it does a math.max out of whatever array this turns into. So this one here is doing a conditional operation. It's saying do this, which basically does what we did. Oh, this was even slicker. Dang, I wish I would have done this. Low dash. I don't know what that means. Anyway, so this is a method that I don't know about because of this. I think that might have something to do with it. I don't know. Anyway, here's basically what we did here. That's more slick too. Whatever. Anyway, let's go to mine. Just me on this one. Best practice in my opinion. Very much like it. And we'll see you next time.